So, no matter how good you are at managing stress, there's just going to be those times when you are completely overwhelmed. So, I made this short video for you today to teach you about a method of calming yourself that actually will lower your own stress hormone levels. So we all have those days when we just get completely sideswiped by stress. And if you're dealing with an anxiety disorder, your nervous system is actually dysregulated. So your ability to handle stress and calm yourself is going to be diminished. So today I'm going to teach you my amazing technique that will actually lower your stress hormone levels when you are feeling stressed. So what we're going to do is to create a mind-body connection that will enable you to have an amazing ability to calm yourself in almost any situation. This is so important because one of the most difficult things about dealing with stress is feeling like you just can't handle the situation. So once you learn this technique and you realize that you actually do have the ability to calm yourself in almost any situation, you are going to feel so much more empowered to move forward in your life and do things that maybe you were even afraid to do in the past. So when we get stressed out, it's important to understand that how well we navigate through that situation is directly proportional to whether we have a sense of agency and empowerment, or whether we feel like we're victims of circumstances outside of our control. So there are those things in our life that we can control and change. And unfortunately, there's much more in our life that we have absolutely no control over. But even if you have no control over the events and circumstances that are external to yourself, you do have control over your internal world. Now, when we have a warning and we know something is coming, we often have time to prepare. But what makes a lot of stressful circumstances so incredibly stressful is that they just come at us with no warning. So suddenly your partner tells you, "I'm not happy," and they're thinking about ending the relationship, or your boss calls you into the office and he is angry about your performance, and suddenly you realize my job is at risk. Or you have unexpected financial setback and you can't pay your bills, or the doctor calls and he asks you to come in and discuss your test results. So these are the kind of things that just knock us flat on our backs. They take us by surprise, and because we haven't been able to prepare for them, we have an instant and overwhelming stress response, particularly if you already struggle with anxiety or depression. So have you ever noticed that when you get stressed out, your clarity of thought just goes away? Because your mind's primary job is to keep you alive. So when something stressful happens, your mind quickly mobilizes your body in an effort to keep you safe, to protect you. So it's readying you to fight, to flee, or even to just freeze, depending on the circumstances. So all of these options create a biochemical cascade within your system. Stress hormones begin to rise. You begin to feel anxious, overwhelmed, uncomfortable. And the important thing for you to understand is that the subconscious mind will often react just as strongly to an emotional threat as to an actual physical threat. Because as I mentioned before, if you already struggle with anxiety, your system is already dysregulated. So that means that you may react with an exaggerated response to normal day-to-day stressors. So if this describes you, then this technique is going to be even more important for you to practice and apply. So during a stressful event, you might experience symptoms like feelings of agitation, tension within the body, emotional overwhelm, jitteriness, symptoms of panic, and your clarity of thought just disappears. So without the ability to calm and comfort yourself, you could often find yourself unable to muster up the energy to take the action necessary to resolve a situation you're in. And if the situation can't be resolved in the moment, you might be left feeling completely trapped, helpless, and overpowered. So the technique I'm about to show you is actually so simple that you're going to wonder, how can this possibly even work? But the best thing about this technique is we know it works, because there have been actual clinical studies at Stanford demonstrating that this technique will lower your cortisol by 60 to 80%, and it does it rapidly. Now, I must warn you that this technique takes some practice. So you're not going to just do it once and experience that perfect calming effect. You need to train in that mind-body connection. So with this technique, you're actually sending a message to your brain. I am safe. I can handle this. Everything is going to be okay. So you're literally neurocepting safety to your brain in a way that your brain can understand and respond to. So at first, I want you to practice this technique 3 times a day. And the good news is, because I know you're busy like me, it only takes a few minutes a day. So I recommend practicing right before a meal, because we always eat usually 3 times a day. So if you get in the habit of practicing this method at meal times, you'll make sure to get it in each day, and you'll probably digest your food better because you're going to feel calmer and more relaxed. Now, some of you are going to notice a difference right away, and some of you won't notice a difference for a few days or maybe even a week of practicing. But once you create that mind-body connection, this technique is a total game changer. Once you learn this technique, I promise you, you will want to use it the rest of your life. Now, you won't notice too much difference immediately. So remember, it takes about a week or 2 for you to learn this technique well. But once you create that strong connection between your mind and body, you're going to be absolutely amazed at your ability to calm yourself. So I want you to pause this video for a moment if you need to, because I want you to find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Don't try to do this when you're driving or you're busy or distracted, because it's important that you practice this technique with me. I don't just want you to watch the video and listen, because you need the physical experience of actually doing this technique. The technique I'm about to teach you is called the core state breathing technique. So now let's jump into learning the technique. So I'm going to be teaching you the tail end of this technique first. It's just so much easier to learn the end part first, and then go back and learn the beginning, and then we'll put this together and you're going to be amazed. So the first thing I want you to do is close your eyes, whether you're lying down, whether you're sitting, or you can even do this part of it standing, believe it or not. But I want you to close your eyes, and I just want you to notice for a moment the contact points between yourself, your body, and the surface below you. I'm sitting in a chair. I'm going to feel where my body's touching that chair. Now, my back isn't really against the chair, but if I put my hands down to the side, I could feel my arms resting on the arms of the chair. My lower body is completely supported. I'm feeling the sensations of what it feels like to be fully supported. So now I want you to hone your focus even further. I want you to notice the sense of being supported by the surface below you. And we know from research that when you hone your focus, when you intently focus on that sense of being supported by the surface below you, that you are neurocepting safety to your brain. You're sending your mind a message. I am safe. And your mind receives this message because you are delivering it in a way that your mind understands. You're creating that mind-body connection instead of just being in the circumstance and saying a bunch of affirmations. I'm safe, everything's going to be okay. And your mind's going, oh, I don't think so. By focusing on that sense of being supported, your mind understands, because the mind is often very metaphorical, and you're sending that message to your brain. And so let's do that together now. Just close your eyes wherever you are, no distractions. Just feel that sense of being supported. And now what I want you to do with me is take a deep breath in. Now, as you exhale, Just relax into that sense of being supported. So you're feeling, noticing, focusing on that surface below you, neurocepting safety to your brain. Let's do it again. Breathing in. As you exhale this time, I want you to focus on just sinking, melting, relaxing into that surface. And once again, breathing in, exhaling slowly. All of your attention, not on your breath, on that sense of being supported. And one more time, breathing in deeply and exhaling. You are fully supported, completely safe, relaxing, sinking, melting into that surface. And sometimes it almost feels like you're actually sinking down into the surface below you. And I particularly like to do this when I'm lying down in bed because my entire body is completely supported and it just feels so relaxing. But even if you're in a grocery store and you're standing in line and the guy in front of you is stressing you out, you can just focus for a moment on that sense of being supported underneath your feet by the floor right below you. And you'll notice how incredibly calmer you will feel very quickly. Now, that's the tail end of the technique that we are going to learn. And so just set that aside for a moment. I want you to turn your attention to me again. And we're going to focus this time on our breathing. Okay. So I want you to do a double inhale. So this is what that looks like. It's just a gentle breath. Inhale, pause. Inhale, pause. And then a long, slow exhale. It's almost as if you're taking a sip there. Little pause, another sip of air, and a long, slow exhale. The key is you want that exhale to be longer than those little gentle inhalations. So let's do that together. We're going to do it 3 times. Inhale, pause. Again. Long, slow exhale. And again. And long, slow exhale. And one more time. Long, slow exhale. And this is the part of the technique that was actually studied at Stanford. It was Dr. Andrew Huberman who did this research, who, by the way, has a fantastic podcast called the Huberman Lab podcast that I highly recommend. So now we're going to combine these 2 techniques. So the first part of the technique is what has been proven and demonstrated to lower your cortisol levels. The second part of the technique is what neurocepts safety to your brain. And that technique was popularized by Elizabeth Stanley, also a wonderful scientist. I'd like to give credit to both of those people for helping me develop this technique with their research. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add these 2 techniques together. So you're going to do that. Inhale, pause. Inhale, pause. Now remember, this is a gentle breath. Long, slow exhalation. But as you're exhaling, I want you to focus on that sense of being supported by the surface below you. So in most techniques, you're focused on the breath. You're going to focus on that sense of being supported. That's what's sending the message to your brain that you are safe. So let's do 5 together. So inhale. And long, slow exhale, just focused on that sense of being supported, relaxing into that surface again. And exhale, sinking, melting into that surface below you. Once again, inhale, pause. Inhale, pause. And exhale slowly. All your attention on that sense of being supported. And again. And exhale, sinking, melting, drifting into that surface. Double inhale, pause, And once again, all your attention. You know you're so supported and safe. And one final time. Pause. Another sip of air and exhale slowly, sinking, melting all the tension, draining into that supportive surface below you. And doesn't that feel fabulous? And you'll get better and better at it as time goes on. Now, remember, it's important for you to practice this technique 3 times a day so you can create that mind-body connection. And once you learn this technique, you will have the ability to calm yourself rapidly. And once you're calm, you're going to notice something right away. You're going to notice that that clarity of thought that you lose when you get all stressed out begins to return to you as these stress hormone levels lower. So you might be asking yourself, well, how long do I need to do this technique if I'm actually going to lower my stress hormone levels? Research demonstrates you need to do 3 to 5 core state breathing sequences in order to lower your stress hormone levels. So you're going to find that this technique is absolutely amazing. I want to give credit to those 2 amazing scientists, Dr. Andrew Huberman and Dr. Elizabeth Stanley, whose research helped me to develop this technique for you. And Elizabeth Stanley has a wonderful book called Widen the Window, and you can check that book out on Amazon. So thank you for watching this video, and please like, subscribe, and share this video with others who will benefit from learning this technique, learning how to calm themselves. So thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.